Hello and good. Well, I was going to say good morning. It might be morning if you're watching us live, or it might be morning if you're listening to us on a podcast, but could be afternoon or evening too. But hello, wherever you are in the day. Welcome back to Two Spot Monkeys Live. I'm Jim, joined as always by Tom. Tom, how you doing?
Excellent, Jim. Good morning. Happy summer.
Absolutely.
Officially,
yes,
summer solstice is upon us.
Starting yesterday, the days get shorter. So maybe that's not the happy part of that, but here we are. It is summer. It certainly feels like summer here in Nebraska. I don't know about where you are there in Michigan, but it's hot and humid. Yuck. Not my favorite weather of the year, although I like being able to, be outside and those kind of things. Well, today, excuse me, is a head-to-head episode. We're going to be doing head-to-head for AEW's Forbidden Door. And as we've mentioned before, this will be our last episode for a little while. We're not going anywhere. We're just taking a little summer break as life dictates. And we'll be back August sometime. Is that usually about right, Tom? Does that sound?
Yeah. My hope is that we record SummerSlam weekend.
Okay. SummerSlam weekend is our goal. Stay tuned to our Twitter and Facebook, and we'll try and update you there. We also will post picks there for Money in the Bank and Death Before Dishonor. And if there happens to be any other pay-per-views or NXT thing or something pop up in July, we'll do that as well.
And there's an NXT at the end of July.
Great American Bash. Great American, yeah. Yep, now that I say that, Great American Bash. So that'll be on there as well. So SummerSlam weekend, though, is our hope for return. But no reason to talk more about that. We've got a little bit of a time crunch this morning, so we're going to get right into it. Head-to-head update. Tom, do you have the scores up?
I do, yep. So entering this final pick for the first half of the year, I currently lead 58 and 22 to your 57 and 23.
There we go. So one match is the difference. And I brought no paper and pen, so I'm just going to open Excel sheet so I can keep track here. And we have 11 matches. So after Dynamite last night, it's Thursday morning as we're recording this. After Dynamite, there were 10 matches announced. And then I read this morning of another match that's confirmed on Rampage. So we are going to pick that one so that we have an odd number of matches. So spoiler alert, I don't think necessarily anybody who's worried about Rampage spoilers, that's good on you if you're that dedicated. And I don't think it'll change too much for anybody. But fair warning, that'll be the second match I announce. Tom has not seen Dynamite. I have not seen Dynamite. I know the 10 or 11 matches. Tom knows 4. He knows the top 4, basically. So the first 7 that we do here will be surprises to Tom, or at least surprises that they've been officially announced in 1 or 2 cases, maybe. So that'll be fun too. Get Tom's reaction to the match as it's happening, as he learns of it. So let's see. With me having the one match behind, does that mean I pick first, or I don't? Because I feel like we tied last event.
We did tie last time, and then I was actually down the event before, but that was the one where we had like 3 in a weekend. So,
right.
I mean, technically, I'm operating from behind based on the consecutive pick'ems, but I am.
Well, you would pick first then.
Overall, yep. So
you would pick first then. Okay. Yeah, and I'm good either way because these first few matches I don't think are going to really matter. It's going to be down towards the end where we see if we have any differences. So Tom, 0 Hour, of course, will happen on Sunday. Are you planning on watching Forbidden Door, by the way, before we get into picks?
So, yep. Yeah, I'd love to. I think I mentioned a few weeks ago when we were recording, talking about some AEW. This is second bridal shower weekend, so we are in Detroit this weekend. Bridal shower is on Sunday. Everybody wants to be home early. I selfishly, for this, want to be home early. We'll see.
Gotcha. That's right. You did mention that. So I am absolutely intending to watch it. I have Sunday evening free this week, so I'm excited for it too. In 0 Hour, though, we have one match so far announced. Obviously, I think there will be more, but it is a first-round match in the Owen Hart women's tournament, and we get Athena versus Billy Starks in round 1.
Yeah, that's a cool match. Exciting for Billy Starks. Again, they are in Chicago, so that totally makes sense. Interesting that they're bringing Athena kind of back into the AEW fold, in my opinion, with this, because she's really been hardcore exclusive Ring of Honor. I'd love to see Billy Starks win here because she's now a high school graduate, so I would imagine that she's more free to do things, and if AEW wanted to sign her, that'd be a great addition to the roster. I'm going to go with Athena just because I don't know why they wouldn't have the Ring of Honor Women's Champion win here, and then maybe lose later in the tournament, if not win it all. Who knows, right? With Ring of Honor and AEW, and now with the addition of Collision, I'm not sure that we know where everybody's going to land in the next 60 days in terms of their brand, if you will. So Athena is my pick.
Yeah, Athena is my pick as well here. Like you, I wouldn't mind seeing. I would actually really like seeing Billie Starkz get a win because they haven't really done anything with her for the most part when they've had her on Ring of Honor and Dark Elevation. She's got a couple of wins, I think, but over enhancement talent kinds of things. I think I get to see Billie Starkz July 1st when I'm going to the Revolver show. I'm pretty sure I've seen her announced for that show, which would be cool. I've never seen her live. Obviously, since she was 11 the last time that I attended a live show. So there's that. But Athena here, we probably won't have time today, but the full brackets are released from Dynamite for the Owen Hart as well. And those are
can't wait. I'm gonna get to that sometime this day. This not today, but this day.
this day, yes. And they're interesting, Tom. We won't have time, like I said, to hit those here on the show today, but I'll be interested to message with you back and forth once you see those brackets and see what you think. The second match we'll get to pick is the match that's announced on Rampage. So spoiler alert, if you are staying spoiler free on Rampage, maybe skip ahead 4 or 5 minutes here or fast forward. If you're on the YouTube, you'll be able to fast forward past it. Although you'll see it across the bottom, I guess. So, but Adam Cole is going to face Tom Lawler at Forbidden Door. MJF makes that announcement on Rampage, and then Lawler attacks Cole. I'm just spoiling all of Rampage for everybody now. This is kind of a cool match, even though it's it's questionable, and we're going to have some more of the whole AEW versus New Japan. But Tom Lawler hasn't been in AEW, so I guess he's as New Japan as anybody, even though he doesn't do a ton of work in Japan. He's more New Japan strong. This will be really fun, but I don't see any way you bring Lawler in to beat Adam Cole. I think Cole, they're still building towards maybe all in or all out for a title match with MJF. So Cole is going to be my winner here.
Yeah, Cole's my winner too. The cool match. Yeah, and going back to, I feel like we didn't talk about Dynamite last week in detail. Maybe we did. It seems like time and space are a construct that I'm not wrapping my mind around or living in the full reality. But Cole and MJF last week, the 30-minute draw, the Eliminator match, great match. Again, like how Cole was eliminated because he didn't win, but he also didn't lose. So like, how are they gonna weave the story to get him back to face MJF in a formal way?
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how that played out on Dynamite last night, and also apparently now on Rampage as well. I'm glad that it continues, even though I certainly don't see Adam Cole winning the world title from MJF anytime soon. He could be the guy down the road, although he could be at some point because Sean Ross Sapp has brought up a number of times, MJF has talked about before, although he's laid out of it lately, the whole he's going to be the champ when his contract runs up at the end of the year. And Sapp has said a few times he doesn't have to be the champ throughout 23. He just has to be the champ when the clock runs out at the end of the year, for that storyline. So he could lose it and drop it back, or win it back or something like that. But we'll see. Adam Cole, though, both of us picking there. Tom, you get the first pick on the next match, an Owen Hart tournament first round match for the men's side, as CM Punk will take on Satoshi Kojima from New Japan.
Super interesting, super random. CM Punk, of course. I don't know what else to say. I know that there was at one point some like scuttlebutt, if that's even what you'd call it, that Punk and Kenta were possibly slated for this show. I wouldn't have imagined that to have been a Owen Hart first round match. It could have been. This makes more sense. I'm interested that Punk is part of this tournament because we talked about it a few weeks ago. Like if, as we were kind of like, what would you do to make Collision a must see, right? Well, Punk, of course, is a draw, and then Punk in the Owen Hart tournament, but then not having him win, right? Because like you need to use that to boost somebody else other than CM Punk because he doesn't need that. So how does he get screwed at some point? Clearly not here, unless it is here and we're both left I'm making your pick for you if you didn't just pick that up with our jaws on the floor. But yeah, CM Punk.
And I will say that on the men's tournament, the other 3 first-round matches are all happening on Collision on the 29th next week.
And they're recording that next
They're recording
Thursday.
that the 29th, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So those will all be on Collision. So they did kind of do what we talked about, and I don't know that they're making it Collision exclusive. The women's tournament is kind of all over the place. 1 match on Dynamite, 1 on Rampage, 1 on Collision, and 1 on Forbidden Door. So, but Collision's getting a good amount of the Owen Hart tournament, which is kind of cool. Not a whole lot to say here. There's no earthly way Kojima beats Punk. Even with an interference or anything, like, not a chance. Punk wins that match. And for everybody who says the Punk and the Elite can't be in the same building, here we are.
Well, and so I want to really just jump in quickly too, because I did watch the first match of Dynamite this morning, so I'm not totally like out of the loop. But I really am not. Nothing that will predicate this conversation. Do I have awareness on? But Punk showed up on Dynamite last night.
Yep, and the Elite were not there last night, which was originally planned. That was the plan. That anything that showed them would have been pre-taped. So there we go. But spoiler alert: the Elite will show up here at Forbidden Door a little bit later on as we move through these matches. So I have the first pick on an interesting one, a 6-man tag, Sting, Darby Allin, and a mystery partner that will be revealed on Collision Saturday night, which has to be from New Japan, I would think, obviously, against Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara with a comma in the middle of his name, and Minoru Suzuki. I'm going to take that banner down for those not on YouTube for a minute and just do a little edit. So I took out the comma and put in a slash. We're doing well this morning. There we go. I'm curious who the TBA is. The first name that came to mind, because I had heard he was going to work the show, was Ishii, but he is announced for a match still to come. So I'm trying to run through like New Japan people in my head. And like the 2 that make the most sense for me here are the Great Muta and Jushin Liger, but both are retired. And if either of them were coming back even for a 6-man, I can't imagine you'd only announce it the night before the pay-per-view. Maybe you would, but those 2 would make a ton of sense. I just don't know who else. So if somebody has a great guess, let us know. But my pick is Sting, Darby, and whoever are going to win this match. And I hope that whoever is somebody really cool and not nothing against him by any means, but not like Master Vato or something, you know. And it's not Vato. I don't know why.
I imagine it's gonna be someone cool. Otherwise, why would you not give that to us last night, right? And
right.
And it doesn't matter to me if they have any history with Suzuki. It'd be kind of cool history in a way. But that goes back to a long time in New Japan with Jericho's involvement. So should be fun.
Who's your pick, Tom?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wrote it down, so I thought I already told you. My pick is also Sting, Darby Allin, and to be determined.
I thought so from what you said, but I was like, let's get that official just in case there was something else. Tom, you're going to get the first pick then on a 10-man tag, because it wouldn't be a New Japan show if we didn't just throw a bunch of multi-man matches on these things. Eddie Kingston, Tomohiro Ishii, the Young Bucks, and Adam Page against Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Shota Umino, and Konosuke Takeshita.
Wow, this is awesome on paper, and it's going to be awesome in reality too. Man, this is a challenging one. So you go back to Anarchy in the Arena and Blackpool Combat Club won. You go back to the 6-man a few weeks ago, and the Hung Bucks won, and now we get here. And with the way that Dynamite finished a week ago Wednesday, this makes tons of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. I'm gonna go with the Blackpool Combat Club and Friends, because I think that you have to have Takeshita get the win to keep him strong. I hate that pick in a way because I love both teams, but that's my choice.
Yeah, as I looked at this match, my first thought was, okay, so who eats the pin, Umino or Ishii? Like, those kind of feel like the most likely suspects. And I was leaning, I was hoping you were going to pick the Elite. But yeah, I was leaning the same way you are because of Takeshita's involvement. Same reason. I think you've got to keep Takeshita really strong here. You're just building him as a heel. I think he's off to a nice start. But, you know, and I would have, well, I don't know. I was going to say I would have Takeshita kind of only want to be in the ring when like Kingston and Ishii are in there or something. Like try to avoid the Elite if he can a little bit chicken shit heel, but not total. Because you're building to that. Obviously, you're really building to Takeshita Omega, and that's not a problem to avoid here, since Omega's in a different match. But yeah, I think you got to keep Takeshita strong. So I would put him over, and him pinning Ishii would be a good win for him, if it is Ishii that takes the pin. And him pinning any one of those 5 gentlemen would be good for him. And I've made it very clear before I'm a big Takeshita fan. So that's gonna. I doubt it's going to be match of the night just because of a couple of things we got coming a little later on. But as good as I think this is going to be, it's crazy to say that it probably won't be match of the night. That's a crazy good 10-man right there. Another match that's going to be really fun is the AEW International title match. I was trying to remember who picks first. It's me. Orange Cassidy in a 4-way defends against Daniel Garcia, Zack Sabre Jr., and Katsuyori Shibata. I thought maybe we were going to 2 singles matches here, Cassidy and Sabre, and then Garcia and Shibata maybe for the pure title. I guess they're going to maybe save Garcia and Shibata for Death Before Dishonor for the pure title, which would make a lot of sense. Again, it's a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. So to save the Ring of Honor title match for the Ring of Honor pay-per-view makes sense. And it works very well in what you and I have complained about before, where, you know, Ring of Honor titles were defended in the main event of the AEW's Battle of the Belts and things like that. So that makes sense if they're saving that one. Here's the thing. Sabre can't win this because Sabre's in the G1. So that doesn't make any sense. I think Cassidy wins it. I think Cassidy's keeping his title here. When you beat him, I think you need to beat him one-on-one. We talked about this with the Battle Royal at the last pay-per-view. So I think you got to beat him one-on-one when that happens. So I don't want a 4-way. And I think he probably pins Garcia. Not that we picked that, but it's always fun for us to kind of think about. Maybe after like Shibata knocks out Garcia to continue to build their thing or something. If Cassidy could get a pin on Sabre, I think that would be awesome for Cassidy. But I kind of doubt it. Garcia's the only one not holding a title here, so I kind of feel like he's the one who's going to eat the pin.
Which makes me mad because I want to see him grow. And I know he's going to, I agree with you. I do think he's destined to unseat Shibata as we turn the corner into the month of July. Early spoiler on that pick when that match gets announced, if it does. But yeah, man, I know that they have the tag. I'm looking forward to watching that when I get to Dynamite and how this comes about because of it. Man, what a good group of wrestlers. And you know how I felt. I saw Cassidy and Garcia live at Dynamite a month and a half ago. And man, I wanted Garcia to pull the belt that night. So I know that maybe his path is different, but I'd love to see him become more installed on AEW versus Ring of Honor. No disrespect to Ring of Honor, but just, you know, Garcia is ready to break out, in my opinion. I have some selfish fantasy wrestling league reasons for that as well.
You do. So again, to be clear, your pick.
And my pick is Orange Cassidy. Yes. Yep. The way you laid it out, I'm in lockstep with a lot of what you said.
I
was just super lamenting. I was super salty. I am super salty over the idea that Garcia is going to be the one to eat the pinfall here, because that's really the only thing that makes sense.
Right. It is. And I'm with you. Just spoiler alert. We're going to be, even on our pick come Death Before Dishonor. If that match happens, Garcia over Shibata. You need a pure champion who's going to work most of your tapings. I've kind of been surprised that Shibata's kept it this long. I like Shibata, but he's working a very minimal schedule, and I understand that health-wise and all of those things. I love when we get a chance to see him. And this is going to be crazy good. 4 guys who are going to tear it up. Tom, you get the first pick now on the AEW women's title match, the last match that you don't know about, which is very forbidden door-ish. Toni Storm defends against the NJPW strong women's champion, Willow Nightingale. You got to think this was supposed to be Toni and Mercedes, and unfortunately the injury, threw that off. But you get the pick here, Toni and Willow in a first time ever this weekend match.
So the bummer about it is because Willow is the NJPW Strong Women's Champion, that like her losing here, even dirty, because that's what my pick is, Toni Storm, doesn't help that belt ish, right? So like, what concession, if any, is New Japan or AEW making because of this? Which again, Willow is an AEW talent, but she's also a New Japan champion, right? So like, how do you temper those waters politically? I've really enjoyed actually the build. Honestly, I wouldn't have gone with Willow here. I would have gone with Sky Blue in a rematch based on what happened on Dynamite a week ago and then what happened on a Collision, not knowing what happened on Dynamite last night. And I think again in Chicago, man, Sky Blue was over like Rover in DC and almost and had the amazing title match. And then she came to Chicago and got the win in a tag. So why not go back to her home
too? Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I digress. I don't hold the pencil, Tommy Khan. So Toni Storm is the win.
Tommy Khan, my goodness. Yeah, Tony's winning this one. I wish I could pick Willow. I really want us to have a difference so I have a shot to pull even, but I'm starting to think I'm up a creek without a paddle here. In this show, I should have zigged somewhere, but none of these have. The only one that's felt a little bit like is that 10-man tag, and I felt pretty strongly about where I was headed on that one. Toni Storm, though, yeah, Willow's not winning the AEW women's title yet. I think someday she will, and I like Willow a lot. The story is really that she wasn't scheduled to win the NJPW Strong Women's title. But then the injury, they called an audible, kind of in the ring, which obviously was the right move to make. And I think Willow's a good NJPW Strong Women's champion. I liked, I would have been fine with her beating Mercedes, although that would have been an interesting, without the injury, that would have been an interesting choice to make Mercedes' first loss in this run to Willow. But it was, and now Willow's the champ, but yeah, Willow's losing here. And probably, like you said, from some shenanigans from Ruby or maybe a returning Saraya. Sounds like she's on her way back if she wasn't back last night already. So from whatever she's been dealing with the last few weeks, we mentioned last week, not seeing her for a little bit. And I had read somewhere she had just some things to deal with. So hopefully all's well there. We'll see Saraya back soon if she wasn't already last night. So now we get to the big four, I guess the 4 main events almost. If they're not billing it as a quadruple main event, but I think you could. And we'll start with the AEW World Title match. MJF defends against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Tanahashi telling the story that he almost won the title last year when it was the interim title match with he and Mox, right? Or Punk?
It was Mox.
It was Mox. Yeah, I thought so. It was supposed to be Punk, I think, originally, and then Punk was hurt. So, Tanahashi's coming for the belt this year, and Tanahashi hasn't got a shot in absolute anywhere of winning this title. This will be we'll have 10 to pick in our fantasy wrestling league pick 'em because Thursday is always the cutoff, so I can't officially add that Cole and Lawler match there. But spoiler, if you fast forwarded earlier. But this will probably be my 10. I mean, there's no way Tanahashi wins the IWGP or the AEW title. He's not winning either one of them at this point in his career. So MJF's my pick, and if you pick Tanahashi, it will be the biggest gift you've ever given me.
Yeah, sorry, brother. Can't do that for you here. Yeah, MJF, absolutely. I'm excited actually about this match. And this is one of those matches as to why I want to see this show. Like, it is a foregone conclusion, but I really think, like, with the way that MJF is carrying himself and Tanahashi's lore and legacy, this could be really special. So, that's the draw.
Tanahashi, for me at this point in his career, like Tanahashi's one of the greats. Don't get me wrong. And him and Okada back in the day, when they main evented Wrestle Kingdom a few different times, I mean, just some epic great matches. He's on the downswing of his career, and he's booked like that most of the time, which makes sense. So I guess that's part of it for me. Is honestly, for both of these world title matches, I feel like there could have been bigger matches. But that being said, I expect this to be good. So and MJF is frankly one of the best in the ring in the world right now. He's probably untouchable on the mic, so and we know that, but in the ring, I mean, the guy delivers every time he goes out there. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be really good. It's just I don't know. I guess I hoped for more, but I figured these would be kind of the title matches we got. Not necessarily with these people, but these level of title matches, if that makes sense. Tom, you get the first pick on the IWGP World Title match. Sonata defends against Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Yeah, so I feel like this is more a foregone conclusion than the previous match, which is interesting. But I think that's probably because of the I hate to say aura because I think that's the wrong term, but the aura that Tanahashi brings. I really love what you said when we talked. I think it was a week ago. About this is probably the beginning of the Jack Perry dark side path. So that should be fun to see, like those seeds begin to be planted if that's the route they go. I don't know. Is Sonata a face or a heel? I'm not as up to date on New Japan as I used to be over 2 years ago.
I'm not sure.
Okay, because I know he's part of a newer faction.
Yeah, just Five Guys or something like that.
Yeah, which I love Five Guys burgers and fries, but this is not the same thing. So Sonata's the pick here. I do expect a great match. I always thought Sonata was a really strong talent. And then they finally gave him the opportunity to be the face, the world champion of New Japan. And we'll see what goes. Whatever. Again, does he hold the title and face the winner of the G1 at Wrestle Kingdom next year? I'm super not informed enough to give you an honest or informed opinion on that.
I feel like he does, and I don't know why I feel like that, because I'm in the same boat as you. I haven't watched a New Japan show in a year or more. And again, it's just time. It's just from what I've read, I follow all the results, at least of the pay-per-views, because of our fantasy wrestling league. I try to kind of keep up on it a little bit. Again, for my information for fantasy wrestling, to see who I want to draft. With only a few shows where he would defend his title left this year, I kind of feel like he probably does hold it to Wrestle Kingdom and defend it against the G1. Sonata's my pick here too, by the way. I don't think that's a shock. And I kind of think we're going to talk about him in a minute. I don't know why, but I feel like Okada could win the G1 again. They're kind of playing up that it could be his third G1 victory, and that feels like a Wrestle Kingdom main event again. But Okada is kind of John Cena, right? Like he's the one you go back to a lot in New Japan, and they seem to be trying to build some new stars. So maybe somebody else wins the G1 and we get a totally fresh Wrestle Kingdom main event, which would be good for New Japan. But for this here, I could see this being, since they're playing up that Hook is going to be in Perry's corner, the point where Perry turns on Hook, like either he's frustrated after the loss, or Hook does something that accidentally leads to the loss, or Hook doesn't help him when he wants him to do something dirty, or I don't know.
Does Hook throw in a towel? And right. Jack's like, no, I shouldn't have done that. I had it. Right? Like,
and smashed him with a chair or something. I don't know. So I could see the turn happening at the pay-per-view. It would be a big moment. But it's coming. It's coming. Sonata's the win here. Danielson Okada. I know from previous conversations, this is our last chance to have a difference. And the fact that I picked first, I really hate, because strategy-wise, you can just match it.
And I really love, so thank you.
Right.
I do.
I'd be willing to let you pick first if you'd like.
I'm good. I did have my pick in my mind before this screen came up. I was forgetting which match was next and which match was last. I almost wrote down.
I almost switched them on you just to be like, I made it editorial.
Executive
previous
call.
conversations around the other big match yet to come here. But Danielson Okada, congratulations, Tom, on his head-to-head win. I should have thought about that before I put these in order. We talked about it right before we clicked record. This is going to be freaking special. This is one of the reasons that I have tried to make sure I kept my Sunday evening clear. This will be one of those matches. Sometimes when I'm watching wrestling, I'm also kind of on the computer. I'm also on my phone, and so I'm watching it. I'm paying attention, but I'm not maybe giving 100% of my attention to the TV screen. This will be a match where the computer gets shut. The phone gets set down next to me. And I can say this because she's not in the house currently. If my wife yells down the stairs or something, I will hit pause on the TV until I can give my full attention right back to this match. It's crazy to me, and we've talked about this before, that this is their first one-on-one match. Like with all of the Ring of Honor and New Japan crossover shows that happened and all of the huge matches that happened on those shows, this is the first time these guys have gone one-on-one. Gabe never booked this. Maybe Gabe wasn't allowed to book it. I don't know. Maybe New Japan said, no, we're going to save that one. Just crazy to me that it never happened. And I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at timing. Maybe there are other factors at play why this never happened. But it's crazy. We're finally getting it. It's been a dream match to me for a long time. I can't believe we're going to get to see it on Sunday. It's going to be awesome. I have no idea who to pick in this match. I could definitely go either direction because I think Okada, like I said, has a really good chance at winning the G1. So keeping him strong for New Japan. A loss isn't going to hurt either one of these guys, though. They're at that level where whoever wins this match, it's going to be fine. I could see Okada getting the win because somebody from the Elite comes and interferes or something like that. But I got to be honest, I don't want Gaga in this one. I want the Elite to stay away from it. I just want these two to wrestle and have the 30-minute, banger that I know they can. Screw it, Okada.
See, that's interesting that you say screw it, Okada, because to me, as much as I agree that this is kind of a coin flip in a way, Okada makes the most sense. So, like, please know I was going to pick Okada probably either way.
Yeah.
I love our strategy. I love that this locks it in, barring some crazy shenanigans in our last pick. One thing I've been really thinking about Bryan Danielson in AEW is he's the one member of the Blackpool Combat Club that I feel like is immune to any damage in the event of a loss. And this is a great example of how I see that being on full display. For all of the things that you said about this match, like I wanted to joke when you were like, if your wife calls downstairs, it's almost like you got to give her the heads up beforehand. Hey, between 9:30 and 11:30 on Sunday night, just please know, like, and this is the do not contact me in case of fire or death. And so if nothing's on fire and you're not dying, I don't expect to hear from you. I love you, but which may or may not go over well. I know you've been married for a fair number of years, Jim, but
that could cause death potentially
for you specifically. So yeah, no, Okada all the way, and that's the thing. Like Okada winning and like Danielson using that as fuel to like still name himself as the best in the world despite that is such a heelish prick thing to do, and like that would be more the better thing to do for Danielson and for AEW, because then Okada is gone, right? And then forbidden from happening, but it's not because it's Forbidden Door. Like we could Forbidden Door 3 a year from now have something where these two match up again.
Or if Okada doesn't win the G1, Wrestle Kingdom.
Yep, absolutely, really absolutely.
As well, Tom, you get the first pick on what we're calling our main event. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they put these. I just feel like this will be the last match. I felt that way since they first announced it, but it's the IWGP US title match, which is kind of crazy if the US title main events over both world titles, IWGP and AEW, but I don't see either of those matches worthy of closing this show. when you have Danielson Okada and Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay.
And with this title on the line, this is the truest Forbidden Door style match. Which is kind of tongue in cheek to go, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it actually does to me, right? Like Tanahashi MJF, yes, great. Sonata Jack Perry, yes, great. But these are two guys on the exact same level, and there's a title on the line, and they're both representing their company. Like how good is that? And it's interesting because I said representing their company, but Kenny Omega is the New Japan champion coming into this, right? So is New Japan his company or is AEW his company? This is going to be amazing. So before I make my pick, I will say I've been really kind of chewing on the idea of plunking down money and resubscribing to New Japan World, with the idea that I was like, I'd really love to check out the G1. I haven't made that decision yet because part of it's like, do I honestly have time in my life to watch the G1, right? Like I could easily go, I got 2.5 hours a day that I could just, after it airs, watch it later in the day, But I don't know that that's a true statement to make, right? And if I were to do that, one of the first things I would do is I'd go back to Wrestle Kingdom and I'd watch the match that these two had, which I think from a lot of people that I trust it and respect, they feel this is probably, if not the match of the year, one of the matches of the year in 2023. So the fact that they're now going to have a rematch on United States soil with all of the history.
Canada.
I'm sorry. Yep, Canada. North America. I don't know why I felt this was so go back to what I said earlier about Sky Blue. Scratch that from the record.
Yeah.
This is not in Chicago. This is in Toronto.
Yeah, and I agreed with you. I was like, and she's from Chicago, and which really matters when you're in Toronto. They love Chicago and Toronto.
Yep, 2 spot monkeys, two brain cells.
Not 2 geographic monkeys.
2 geographic monkeys. Weather on the 9s, and we'll tell you what the weather is somewhere we don't know where it actually is. That's too much for me. I'm sorry to take us off the rails. Will Ospreay is my pick to unseat Omega here, and I do think this has shenanigans because I think we're heading to. I don't know when. I don't know if it's the first thing we get to, but Omega Takeshita at some point is happening. I don't know that's the first match you do in the series for them. I don't know if that's in the UK. I don't know if that's back in the States. I don't know if you hold on to that and wait until November. We're getting it eventually. Just the timing. You nor I have no influence over that, but I'm sure we're going to be thrilled when we do get the chance to have that match. So because of all of that, and again, with the person we haven't named, but I hope he had in the mix, Don Callis, of course, to screw Omega. Will Ospreay unseats Kenny Omega and takes the United States IWGP title back to New Japan.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Ospreay's going to win this match, or Opsray, as I spelled it here on the YouTube banner. Clearly my best job ever doing these banners this week. Jim needs a summer break, apparently. I'm just reading it and realizing that. So Ospreay's going to win the match, but I got to do it, right? Kenny Omega is going to be my pick here because I got to try. I got to take the shot and try. I don't like it. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, I'm a genius. So I've got to take Kenny Omega to try and tie it up here. I have absolutely no good reason that I'm going to lay out for you other than I need Kenny Omega to win for our bet. So that's why he's my pick. I think Ospreay is going to win, but I have to make the pick of Omega, though, strategically here, which means we need to come up with a quick tiebreaker just in case the unexpected happens. Do we want to go bell to bell time for this match or some other match, or do we want to do something else, Tom?
You're putting this on the spot.
I probably should have talked about this before we clicked record, but welcome to our planning session here live on 2 Spot Monkeys.
Yeah, we do. So the last time we had this scenario was Final Battle 2021. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I think it would have been 21. Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah. So, I do think, from the ringing of the bell to the pinfall for this match, whoever is, if
And the
needed.
nice part is the Wrestling Observer usually has that
Yeah,
on their recaps.
Well, I expect you actually to get your phone out for this match and hit. And timer,
I might.
timer on, timer off, right? So yeah, closest to closest to the time of the match without going over.
We could, or we could just say closest. The odds of us both being the exact same number of seconds, minutes, and seconds off are.
And the odds of Kenny Omega winning as well, with all due respect.
Right. The odds of us even needing this tiebreaker are very rare. But just in case, I don't even want to, in case there's an injury and they have to punt or something, which obviously I hope and pray doesn't happen.
So the reason why I say closest without going over is because it's ingrained in me growing up that I always would watch The Price is Right with my grandparents. Right. So that's where that comes from.
So I'll pick 1 minute.
Yeah. Right. No, I'm good with closest to the final time on either side.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let you pick first because you picked Omega.
Yeah. Right. So I'm the one who needs it. I'm gonna go 26 minutes and 21 seconds. I don't know why. That's just what I'm doing.
Cool. I'm gonna go. Let's go
20 long actually after I said it.
I'm gonna go 24. 43.
4:43. Perfect. So we've got about a 2 minute and 22 second difference. So hopefully it does not end in whatever a minute and 11 seconds is more than your time. Would that be 25:54 would be what we don't want it to end in, or we would be exactly on either side. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Yeah. I had a tiebreaker in my trivia nights about a month back where they both picked the exact same number. And then I said, okay, it's higher than that. Pick again. And then they both picked the exact same number again. And I was like, what are we doing, people? So there you have it. All of our picks are the same, except I, plugged my nose and picked Kenny Omega to win. Not because I'd be mad if Kenny Omega wins, because it's going to be great either way. I just don't think there's.
I had Ospreay written for you before you even made the pick, so I had to cross it out and write Omega.
Yeah, well, and because we have talked about this before, we both expect Ospreay to win, and I do. It's just a matter of I need the win. So and I couldn't find a way to do it anywhere else, so I'll do it there. And now some other match will end in a way that we're both wrong, and I'm like, I should have gone the other direction. I should have picked, Kojima over Punk or whatever. I don't know. Probably not that one, but. Well, as we mentioned, this will be our last episode just for a little while here, probably through the month of July. And then hopefully SummerSlam is early in August, I believe, right? Yep. Like the first weekend.
Saturday, August 5th.
That's right. And are you going to SummerSlam, Tom?
Today, as of today, no. But I would love to be in Detroit for that entire weekend. There's GCW on Friday. Yep. WrestleCon is coming to Detroit. I don't know what that is all going to entail. I know they've announced Nails of all people to be there. So we'll see. I had some sticker shock at the SummerSlam tickets. I probably shouldn't have had sticker shock, but I did. So.
Well, stay tuned to the Two Spot Monkeys Twitter. We'll update this event, and then we'll update the 3 PLEs that we've got in July. I may tweet a little bit from there too. We'll see at the Wrestling Revolver show here on the 1st. Roderick Strong versus Mike Bailey. Cage of Horrors of Second Gear Crew versus the Rascals. There's a dog collar match between some guy named Crash Jackson, who I have no idea who he is, and Madman Fulton. It's just a dog collar match, so I think that's going to be cool. And some other stuff they've announced as well that's escaping me in the moment. But Revolver looks like it's going to be really fun. I did buy the meet and greet for Revolver as well, so we'll see whether I think that was worth it. Apparently they'll sign the poster they give me for free. If I want anything else signed, which I really don't have anything else for any of those guys. The only one that isn't included is Roddy Strong. I may go ahead and pay extra depending on what he's charging to get a picture with him at least, because that would be fun to send to our friend Greg, because I know Greg and Roddy are buddies. So
well, and if that poster stays in good shape, a signed poster, if you threw that in a frame and hung it on your wall, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, especially with some of those folks, if I get Roddy on there, if I get Bailey on there, there's some other guys and gals as well. So that'll be fun. So stay tuned to our Twitter at 2SpotMonkeys. We'll try and keep you updated throughout the month of July. And we will look to be back here in the very beginning of August.
Yeah, and that could be a really big, long show, just depending. We may need to do 2 parts just because we'll have a lot to catch up on. This and the month of July, I'm sure, takeaways and all the other stuff in the world of pro wrestling. Plus, if we, I'm clear we're going to pick SummerSlam. That's, it's going to be a big ball of wax, but a good one.
And an update on where we're at on head-to-head for that half of the month, that half of the year, that half of the month. Since there's 3 shows in July that we'll be picking head-to-head, we'll already be well into our head-to-head bet for the second half of the year, which is crazy when it's only kind of a month we'll be gone. So everybody be safe. Have a great month of July and end of June here as well. And we'll be back and talk to you again back here in August at 2 Spot Monkeys Live.